What's up, everyone? It's Greg Tastic here, and today I wanted to talk to you about a little company, or maybe not so little a company, called OnePlus. I've talked about them in the past, and I actually wanted to do this video today, and then forgot that I talked about them in the past, and it kind of sparked my memory and made me, it just clicked things in my mind where I was like, I made this video 4 years talking about something, and now news came out today that makes me feel like I knew what I was talking about 4 years ago. So, for those of you who don't know what OnePlus or who OnePlus is, because it's not really a Samsung or a Motorola in the phone world, but in 2014, they were a startup company. I say startup in quotations because uh, they how do I say it? Presented themselves as a startup, but they were actually partly owned by a Chinese company called, I don't know if it's Oppo or Oppo, one of those, but it was just basically, to me, like a way to rebrand that company's phones and not have the negativity of being a Chinese brand attached to it. Although it still was a Chinese brand, but they also had better marketing and we don't need to get into everything. But in 2014, they made their first phone, and it was called like a Flagship Killer, and they had their what do you call it, slogan, which was never settle. And they sold their phone for like half the price of the current day Samsung phone, which I think was, I actually have it here, so I'm not gonna lie to you. Galaxy S5 at that time was like $650, and OnePlus was selling their phone for $300 to $350, depending on which storage variant you bought. So it's like they're selling you the same exact hardware that is a top of the line for half the price. And, like I said, their slogan was never settle. And they basically presented to you something where you were getting the same. Why is this? Don't shake, baby. Where you're getting the same performance, the same hardware, the same experience for half the price. And as the company progressed and grew, their their initial, I don't know, mission statement, I guess, of creating phones that compete with the top tier phones for a lower price kind of dissolved as time went on and on. Their phones became more expensive, still usually cheaper than whatever the top tier is. So, like, I think now, uh, I had listed all the prices. I don't want to get into all that because I don't want this to be a history lesson of OnePlus. But I think now their flagship phone is going for like 800 or 900, which is still cheaper than, I'm guessing, like a Samsung is 1,000 at least, right? Like a S21 or whatever they call it. Um, but yeah, so they had this marketing. To me, it's like a marketing campaign. Like, get the same thing for less price and you're going to get the same experience. And they really had, they're not widespread. Like, they are not carried by carriers. I think the only carrier that carries them now is T-Mobile. But they did this good job of presenting to at least phone enthusiasts or Android phone enthusiasts that you could get peak performance for a better value. Now, where do I come in this story? And let me see the year. I think it's 2017. They released the OnePlus 5. I kind of skipped out on the first couple of OnePlus phones. The price was good, and that intrigued me, but also there was like an invite system, so you had to get an invite to purchase the phone, which was not easy to do. And then at the time, Google had their Nexus line. So I didn't write this down to be sure, but I'm pretty sure at the same time OnePlus was coming out with their OnePlus One, OnePlus Two, you could probably get like a Nexus 4 or a Nexus 5. And I was more into that because I felt like it was straight from Google. So it would have more of their idea of what a phone should be. And you had to compromise on those phones too with things like LTE, NFC, all sorts of stuff. But I jumped in on the OnePlus bandwagon in 2017 and I bought a OnePlus 5. And at that point, it was, I have here $579, which even though is more than the initial 350 that they started at, was a great deal. And, how do you turn that down? You want the best specs that you could get, and the price is at that time probably $200 or $300 lower than what you would pay from a Samsung or a HTC or a Motorola. Now, me using this phone, I had a lot of issues with it. I made a video 4 years about having a lot of issues with it, and it doesn't have a lot of views, and it has 0 thumbs up and 3 thumbs down. So thank you to all you people. But I'm a very petty person, and I know when I'm right. So let's just fast forward. We're gonna fast forward in a second. So my issues with the phone were basically, I think at that time the OnePlus 5, 2017. I think I had also used the S8. I want to say a S8 because this is when the bezels started going away. So, or whatever the Samsung. I really think it was a S8. I didn't write all my facts down, but I think I was comparing either like the 5 or the 5T to a S8 at the time, and I was having battery issues. OnePlus had this claim about their battery life and that they increased the battery size. And I think with a similar battery on the Samsung phone, I was getting a lot better battery life. And I was also having this issue, which again is documented in my video from 4 years ago, where I was having GPS issues. Basically, I was using a walking app where you could track your walks or your runs or whatever you do using your GPS, and it will save the mileage and the route you took and all that. And I was having this issue on OnePlus phones where the GPS would stop tracking if I don't want to say close the app out, if I put the app in the background and not the forefront, didn't have it on the screen, and I was listening to music or something like that, it would just stop tracking. And when I loaded the app back up, the GPS would jump to where I was at that time and lose the data in between when the app was not in the foreground. And I emailed OnePlus about this. I posted on their message board. I made a YouTube video about it, and I had never got one single positive outcome from it. I just got dislikes and people claiming that I was doing something wrong. The phones were great, whatever. So now let's fast forward to 2021, and it comes out that OnePlus is throttling over, I think they said over 300 popular applications to save battery life. Okay. And they admitted to this. Never settle, right? Right, OnePlus, never settle. Just settle for 75 to 85%, or was it 65 to 75? Just settle for 2/3 or 3/4 of an app's performance at the sake of a battery life. How about, I don't know, never settle. You get the battery life down right and let the apps perform at their peak performance. Is that too much to ask? Is it okay to do that to people because they're not paying full price for the phone? They paying full price, but you know what I'm saying? Like, because they're getting that flagship Snapdragon processor for $200 less than Samsung, it's okay to throttle their applications? I don't know. You tell me. So I just feel like my experience with OnePlus, I feel like first of all, it's like, I don't know if you've ever ordered something off of like Instagram, like whether it be maybe like a clothes or maybe food. Like you see something marketed on Instagram really well, and you see people sharing it, and you're like, oh my goodness, like these clothes must be great, or this workout device must be great, or this food must be great, because why else would so many people be talking about it and hyping it up? It's called marketing, okay? And now they're making you, instead of marketing on TV and spending millions of dollars on ads like maybe a Samsung would do, they're marketing on social media and in closer knit groups, and they're making something seem like it's better than it is. So when you go and order that food, it tastes like crap. Or you go and get those clothes and they wear out after a couple months because it's cheap. I'm not going to say the word, it's cheap junk, you know? And I'm not saying OnePlus makes cheap junk, because they have good build quality in their phones, but that's because their phones are use the same design as I don't know. Someone's gonna say you're saying it wrong. Oppo or I don't know. I don't even hear the difference that time. But they're using that company's designs for the phone, and they're just kind of like rebranding it as OnePlus, and they put nice software on it, like clean software, but I don't know. Like it's just something fishy about it. It's like they're trying so hard to market it as you never settle, and they're trying so hard to say it's the fastest. It's like, think about when I'm an iPhone user now, right here. So I don't mess with Android anymore. I still like to keep up on the news, and I still like to, uh, see the latest tech and all of that. And I do miss it sometimes for certain features, but I remember when I was a hardcore Android fan, every time a OnePlus phone would come out, people on YouTube would put comparison videos of OnePlus versus Samsung, or OnePlus versus iPhone. How long does it take to open apps? And they go through and open 20 apps and see which phone could get done the first, the quickest. Or they would leave the apps open and see which had the better RAM management and could load the apps up the fastest. And it's like a lie to me. The battery life is a lie, the performance is a lie, and yeah, I don't know what to say. I feel like I'm not gonna say just buy Samsung or buy Apple. That's not my point. But I just feel like when you have so much gimmickry, I don't think that's a word, but when you're trying to presenting gimmicks, or you're trying to, we're $200 cheaper, like, it gets cut off from somewhere. And to me, I feel like they're kind of showing their real colors. Like, they've had a lot of instances, whether it be leaking people's data or manufacturing issues, or just handling things like the invites. Like, they're a lot of issues where they don't present themselves very well as a professional company. And now you have this, and your whole claim to fame is that your performance is as good or greater than flagship devices for less than a flagship device. So not only are you coming closer to those devices in prices, but your performance is a lie. Like, you're not performing as good. If apparently, if this is to be believed, if I get on my S21 and go on Chrome, I'm gonna have better performance than on a OnePlus 9, because they're not throttling the performance, and they're still probably giving you better battery life than OnePlus is. And I don't know if the internet's changed in the past 4 years, if like people are still in love with this company and thinking they're doing this great thing. Like, you could get now, and to me, like, even though I'm iPhone user, like, even watching the Android world, like, you could get good devices for decent prices. Now, no, you can't get a S21 or a S21 equivalent for 600 or 700, right after it comes out. But there's competition, And you can't just sit here and try and pull the wool over. I don't. Is that pull the wool over people's eyes? I think that's what I want to say. That is what I want to say. I just don't know if that's an expression or not. But anyway, my point is, shame on OnePlus. You know, like you've had. I feel like you've had so many shady practices, and I know no company is perfect. Samsung has exploding phones, and iPhone, the battery, so many issues with Apple as far as what they do. But throttling a brand new phone to 75% performance and not telling people, and I don't know. You got to do better than that. But guys, let me know what you think. If you are a fan of them, can you defend them? If you're not a fan, like, and I feel like what's the point of even having them as a company? Because there's like certain news where it seems like they might as well just market themselves as a regular. They might as well just release a Oppo whatever here and charge $900 for it, and just, there's no different. It's not a value company anymore, and there's a lot of shady practices going on that I would not want to buy one of their phones. But guys, like, dislike, because that's what my last OnePlus video got. Comment and let me know what you guys think. Till next time, I'll see you guys.